Welcome to Eye on Rogue Valley Wine Country. I'm Natalie Marmion. From year-round outdoor adventures to uniquely curated dining experiences, theater, and passionate winemaking, Oregon's Rogue Valley is best described in two words: world-class. The Rogue Valley stretches from the California border up to Crater Lake National Park, and we are excited to take you along on a trip through its namesake river, rolling hills, sky-high plateaus, and of course, a wine country like no other. So for this next half hour, join us and discover some of the very best Oregon experiences. I'm here at the Oregon Wine Experience in Medford, an annual wine festival celebrating the very best winemakers in the state, featuring tastings, competitions, and best of all, this entire festival benefits an amazing cause. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'd like to set the scene for you, so we spoke with regional expert Ashley Cates about the Rogue Valley to learn more about this one-of-a-kind place. Ashley, this has been such a fun weekend, so many exciting things going on. What do you love about this event and what's happening over this time right now?
I love this time of year because the Oregon Wine Experience comes to fruition, and it's a 4-day event that is immersive in the wine country. And I think what's really special about the Rogue Valley in general is that the majority of what you can do here is a very immersive experience. So you're able to talk to the winemakers, talk to the owners while trying wines and having some of the best food in the valley as well.
Talk about your wines here, not only the Oregon Wine Experience, but Rogue Valley wines and how special they are and how unique the soil is here.
We actually are the birthplace of Oregon wine. The first vineyard in Oregon was planted here in the Rogue Valley in the early 1900s, as well as the first Oregon winery that was officially licensed was here in the Rogue Valley. So our history extends the span of the wine country here. And I think what's really special is that we are flanked by the Cascade and Siskiyou Mountains, which provides us this canvas to paint with the rainbow of varieties. And I think that the Rogue Valley is so approachable that it doesn't matter if it's your first wine tasting experience or if you're a master sommelier, you're gonna have an awesome experience at these tasting rooms.
One of those tasting rooms lies just a few short miles from downtown Medford. Ross Allen invited us to Patagon Wines, which he started with his wife in 2014, in large part thanks to the broad opportunities for wines the region allows him to choose from.
The Rogue Valley has been recognized as one of the top 10 wine regions in the world. I think typically when you go to a wine region, you expect to find one or two, maybe 3 different varieties. Well, in the Rogue Valley, again, because of the climate that we have, I think right now there's over 70 different varieties under cultivation. Just depends on what your palate is. There's an opportunity to try a lot of different wines here.
And at Patagon, those wines are made by Kylie Evans, who believes winemakers should showcase the region their wine is made in to the people tasting it.
My job is not to make Malbec that smells and tastes like Malbec. That's really easy. My job is to make Malbec that smells and tastes like Malbec grown right here. Because I really would hope that one day, the Rogue Valley would be known for Sauvignon Blanc and Malbec like Napa is known for Cabernet or the Willamette Valley is known for Pinot Noir.
As much as he enjoys the region's passionate drive to create diverse and exceptional wine, it's not the only thing that gets Kylie out of bed in Medford.
I love living here. 4 seasons every year. I get to fish and play golf in the summer, and it's spectacular. I've lived in other places, and I would always come back to the Rogue Valley.
No matter how you find yourself in Medford, Ross has a message for anyone who steps through his doors at Patagon.
I truly appreciate people that take the time to come see us and explore the wines and explore the wine scene. I always try and make sure I show that back when people come in to actually be introduced to the Rogue Valley wines.
We keep talking about how much there is to do in this region, especially outdoor activities. What kinds of things should I look forward to, and what I'd be surprised about the things I can do?
Well, we have the only national park in the state. So Oregon's only national park, Crater Lake, also the nation's deepest lake, anchors our valley to the north. And from there is the springs that the Rogue River is sourced from. So the recreation on the Rogue River is expansive.
And nobody knows about recreation on the Rogue better than Zach Kaufman, CEO of Sawyer Paddles and Oars, which has been making and selling river gear just outside of Medford for over 50 years.
Historically, the Rogue River has been part of the Rogue Valley for hundreds of years. Wooldridge was doing tours back in like the 50s and 60s. Glenn Wooldridge was the one who is responsible for blasting some of the channels open on the Rogue River. And so the Rogue has always been that iconic attraction, and in turn has just kind of developed into a bigger tourist entity where you have jet boat companies on the upper part of the river, on the lower part of the river, and you have whitewater companies on the entire stretch of the river.
Zach knows why people love coming to the valley, sharing a story from someone he once guided down the Rogue River.
And he's like, this place is one of the only places I know that we can go world-class whitewater rafting, and then in the evening I can choose to either go to a Shakespearean festival or a monster truck pull. And I'm like, yep, those are all happening this weekend, absolutely.
And for people who may want to graduate from a half-day trip on the river to something even more adventurous,
the Rogue is one of the few rivers that have wilderness lodges. So they can go and float in the wilderness for 4 days and sleep in a bed every night. And you can't find that everywhere.
We have such a water enthusiast community here. Not only do we have the Rogue River, but we have a plethora of lakes. So there's a lot of boating and aquatic activity here. From Class 5 rapids to world-class fishing to just floating casually.
yeah, I'm all about the floating casually.
Me too.
That sounds great. So a good float and then the wineries later. Sounds like a pretty perfect day. Ashley, thank you so much. Great information. There's so much to do in Medford, all 4 seasons.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for having me.
We love it here. Oregon's Rogue Valley truly is an incredible, diverse destination with experiences as varied as the varieties of wine grown here. For those of us who share a love of wine and the people who make it, there's no better way to immerse yourself into Medford's wine country than attending one of the region's wine-centric festivals, like the Oregon Wine Experience. Stick around, because when we come back, we will bring you all the fun. Welcome back to Eye on Rogue Valley Wine Country. I'm Natalie Marmion. The Oregon Wine Experience is the premier annual wine event. It's the culmination of a lot of hard work, celebrating the best of the best wines and winemakers that call Oregon home. So please enjoy. Just outside of Medford, near Jacksonville, Oregon, this 38,000 square foot tent brings thousands of wine enthusiasts and producers from all across the state together for a 4-day event.
Oregon Wine Experience is amazing. First and foremost, it impacts the community beyond the community. We're located here in Southern Oregon, but we have so many travel partners from wineries, also vendors, and several traveling guests that come down to this beautiful area that are absolutely blown away by the capacity and the level of what we do with this event. So it's excellent for the wineries as well. This is a location where you can visit 50, 60 different wineries in a 30-mile radius in no time, and they have a chance to have all of that plus more under one tent.
Silas Cook, the manager of the Oregon Wine Experience, kicks things off with the annual medal celebration, recognizing the best wines made in Oregon.
They got to hold their wine with their medals on top. So it's a very guest-centric, focused approach that allows them to have a ton of fun as opposed to just coming in and drinking wine. They get to be engaged. It's networking. A great sense of community, as we talked about earlier, happens amongst the guests with the wineries, but also those wineries and guests from across the state.
Sarah Garr, owner and head winemaker at Circadian Cellars, won double gold for her 2021 Primitivo and gold for her 2021 Chenin Blanc.
It's my second vintage doing Chenin Blanc, and I'm really, really proud of it. It saw a little bit of amphora, saw a little bit of acacia, saw a little bit of stainless steel. So all those factors combined sort of make an awesome eclectic texture, and I love to make texture-driven wines, but that's really not why I'm here. I love to support the cause, and I've always thought that Oregon Wine Experience does a great job of giving back to the community.
Well, what we do is we raise money. 100% of the proceeds that we do through all of our events goes towards women's and children's health. And this is all through Asante Healthcare through the 9 counties of Southern Oregon and Northern California.
We're really, really pleased to be able to support Asante and the Children's Miracle Network. And being able to do it with wine, which is something also near and dear to our hearts, is amazing.
Together, Kimberly and Kirk run Resistance Wine Company. It's their first year entering wines into the competition, and it paid off because their 2018 Syrah took home Best of Show in the red wine category.
I was a combination of like super excited and super proud. Kimberly's worked really, really hard on the wines and learning how to make wine and all the chemistry and everything. It's been, I think, a lifelong dream of hers. And it was just like super proud, awesome moment.
Resistance Wines isn't the only winery new to the competition scene. Judy Rennick and daughter Teresa from Dos Mariposas Vineyard and Lavender Farm just won a gold medal for their 2021 Chardonnay.
And since we've been open just since October of last year, we're pretty stoked about this. It's pretty exciting, so we didn't expect it.
We wanted to learn a little bit more about how award-winning wines are made, so Judy and Teresa invited us back to their vineyard to give us the full story. Terry, congratulations, your big wins at the medal celebration. We are so excited to be on your beautiful property and learn more about the process here. Tell us about the grapes you're growing.
So we have started with a block of Cabernet Sauvignon. It's our first block that was here when we moved in. It was already established, and we were able to get our first harvest off of it in 2017. In 2019, we planted another 5 acres, and those are in the back of the field there behind the lavender. We have Chenin Blanc and Chardonnay and Pinotage and Pinot Noir. We started with some Grenache, but Mother Nature was not kind to our Grenache, and so after some trials, we pulled that out and we replanted with Malbec just this year, so we have some young Malbec as well.
Can you talk about your wine process and how you guys are doing it and what makes it award-winning and so special?
The Rogue Valley for wine, it's very much up and coming, and so we've discovered that the wine community is growing. The wines are really tasty. It's a great environment for growing grapes. We are a custom crush client, so we work with actually 2 winemakers in town, with Linda Donovan at Palette Wine and with Chris Graves at Namas Crush and Fermentation. And Linda, we started with her. She made our first estate wines with the Cabernet Sauvignon and some Pinot Noir that we had. And we work with them very closely. We go in and we meet with them, we taste the wine as it's in the process. We collaborate with them when it's time for harvest so that we know when it's time to pick properly. And we really enjoy the collaboration and being able to have the input in that winemaking process and to work so closely with them. They're both fantastic winemakers and we enjoy their wines a lot.
Well, I think it's interesting because you are a fairly new vineyard, but you're working with people with a lot of experience, so that explains this win, perhaps.
Absolutely. We are reliant on the wine community here is just phenomenal, and we've learned so much from not only the winemakers but also the other wineries in town. But we're very fortunate to have these really well-established, well-known, and experienced winemakers making our wine.
Can we talk about the lavender, though, that you did plant? And that's one of the very special things about your property. But again, there's so many special things here. It's just stunning. There's so many places to look and enjoy and just peaceful. But the lavender you're growing, what you're doing with that, and then if and how that's also influencing your wine.
Definitely. So we planted, when we first moved here in 2018, the first thing we did was plant the lavender. We have 16 varieties of lavender, both of the English varieties and the French varieties, so some are smaller, some are bigger. We have pinks and blues in addition to, of course, the traditional purple that you expect. And we think the combination of the lavender and wine is just such a fun experience for people to be able to come out here and experience both.
Thank you so much for inviting us to your beautiful property. Congratulations on the big win.
Thank you so much for coming out, Natalie.
Our pleasure. Back in the tent, a barrel auction is in full swing. And while no one is actually going home with a barrel of wine, guests do get to visit various winemakers and can sample from dozens of varieties and vintages.
most of them are futures, or they're specialty wines that haven't been released yet. So they will take the wines from their barrels, and we'll have our own barrels that they get to thieve from. So guests are having a chance to taste a future of a wine that will not be released yet. And if they really love it, we have a competitive bidding style where the top 5 bidders at the end of the closing of this specific auction will actually win those cases of wine.
The final day of festivities brings the grand tasting. Finally, guests can try each and every 2023 award-winning wine, enjoy culinary pairings, and live music.
It's great. There's so many different wineries here. It's a really cool way to get to meet a bunch of people in the community and try all of their wines too. Lots of options, and it's just a beautiful thing that we do here in Oregon.
Being able to try all these amazing wineries in one area has been awesome. It's like, you know, more wine tasting you could do your whole life in one big weekend.
It's all in one place. All the good stuff in one place.
The event also means a lot to the wineries, who get a chance to interact with their customers in a unique way.
Awesome event to be here again this year. It's really nice to be here with the public. I don't get to pour for the public all that often. I keep pretty busy. So it's nice to see a lot of old friends, nice to meet a lot of new friends.
It's really fun to just interact with as many people as possible and kind of get them to get engaged with what we're doing up at the winery.
Coming up, we're speaking to the Asante Foundation, who puts on the Oregon Wine Experience, to learn more about how this event helps Asante bring better health care to the Rogue Valley. Welcome back to Eye on Rogue Valley Wine Country. I'm Natalie Marmion. Since its inception, Oregon Wine Experience has raised more than $10 million, benefiting the Asante Children's Miracle Network program and other healthcare programs. We spoke with Andrea Reeder, Chief Philanthropy Officer, to learn more about their efforts. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. First, we need to ask you, we need to know, what is Asante and what do you do for people who live here in the Rogue Valley?
Yeah, so Asante is a locally owned, locally governed small health system. We have 3 hospitals and outpatient services and clinics that serve Southern Oregon and Northern California. 600,000 people.
Wow, and then tonight you put on this event. I know you have a big project you're working on. Can you tell us more about why this event is so important to the cause and what it's going to provide for the Valley?
Yeah, you know, we come together, we have a wonderful time, but there's this important cause behind it, and that's supporting healthcare. All of the funds raised go to support children's healthcare at Asante or other important healthcare initiatives. Now, we're in a special time right now. We have a special campaign, Asante Forward, happening to expand healthcare throughout our region. The focus right now is a new pavilion at Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center in Medford. That is a 6-floor pavilion with a brand new surgical platform on the first floor, then critical care, cardiac care. The top 2 floors are dedicated to women and children.
Do you think most people know when they come to such a fun and exciting and interesting event, do you think they are aware of the benefactor here?
Yeah, it's a great question. Probably not at first, right? Because we're so excited about Oregon wine and the culinary experience and coming together and being here under the tent. And so we try to message in a fun way and a meaningful way to our guests that while they're celebrating, they're also contributing and supporting healthcare right here.
If you would like to learn more about the incredible work being done at Asante Foundation or about how you can get involved, go to asantefoundation.org. Well, this year's Oregon Wine Experience has wrapped up an amazing fundraising event for Asante Foundation. But while it may be over until next year, it's not the only festival in Medford if you've become inspired to make the trip down. Each year, the city of Medford hosts the Heart of the Rogue Festival, an immersive 2-day celebration of everything and everyone the Rogue Valley has to offer. The festival amplifies and showcases the culture and community of Medford with growers, makers, artisans, producers, and experience providers. It's a destination festival with a little bit of everything people coming to visit the Rogue Valley could want to be a part of. The event spans 4 square blocks in downtown Medford. The streets are closed and thousands of visitors and community members gather to enjoy local music, theater productions, outdoor outfitters, great shopping, and amazing food. Pear Blossom Park in Medford is transformed into the Blossom Lounge with cushions and umbrellas for visitors to enjoy a show, a meal, or just take a moment to chat with friends, old and new, in this friendly community. The wines of Rogue Valley are no secret, and the Blossom Lounge is also home to Wine Country Lane. Guests can join their favorite Rogue Valley winery, brewery, and spirits producer for a bit of relaxation. Sip and savor the flavors of the Rogue Valley in an exclusive, one-of-a-kind crafted experience. The festival also intersects with the Rogue Marathon, a Boston Marathon qualifying race, bringing an injection of energy to the event as festival goers cheer the runners on. And after the festival each day, downtown Medford is still ready to serve its guests with many local businesses offering special promotions throughout the weekend. Plan your trip to Medford, Oregon and experience for yourself the family and fun in the heart of the Rogue Valley. Preparations for this year's Heart of the Rogue Festival in Medford are almost complete, and the festival is October 13th and 14th. To learn more about this immersive event, including a list of exhibitors and a schedule, go to travelmedford.org. That's all for Eye on Rogue Valley Wine Country. I'm Natalie Marmion. Thank you so much for joining us.